So, a part of cohabiting with the older generations has led me to being in an interesting position, able to see the behaviors of both in comparison and to mine, of course, but I find it really hard to navigate. Well, I can't come up with a better way of saying it, but calling out when someone does something hypocritical. And I say that specifically in this case of judgment against the older generation's irrational abstinence. You know, like, as some grandparents age, they get more particular about things in a way that causes friction. And all you can do is grin and bear it and complain about it when you get home. But me being 30, now seeing our parents' generation complain about their parents' little quirks, sometimes it's really ironic. They can't see themselves doing the same things, but in different ways. It's really hard to describe. You either know what I'm talking about or you don't. But the older people get, the more set in their ways they are, and the less you can argue with them. Which is hard because some of those behaviors may have started out based on something reasonable, but now that they don't make sense, won't be humored in changing. When we went to visit my partner's grandparent once, me, him, and his parents arrived and discussed which guest sleeping accommodations made sense for all of us. When I went to settle into the room that we'd all agreed would be best for us, the grandma just walked in and said, "Nope, you're not sleeping there," and that was that. There was no arguing with her in her house, no advocating that we're all adults and would prefer otherwise. And when we got home, my partner's mother had a cathartic little complaint session about how annoying it was everything had to be such a certain way at her mother's house and how tiring it can get. And it can. But now it's really awkward that same thing is happening to us living with her. And I don't know how to broach that without causing offense, because nobody wants to be told they're acting like the irrational, cranky grandparent. My partner's parents were looking to get rid of their bed topper. It just wasn't working out for them, so they asked if we wanted it. Next thing I know, my partner is doing the bed laundry, and I asked why. His mother had awkwardly insisted that he do our mattress protector before we put the bed topper on, which doesn't make any sense, honestly. I'd get it if she was concerned the bed topper they'd been using was dirty before giving it to us, but that wasn't the problem. That doesn't affect anything. Our mattress protector goes over it. The same one that we've been using, and we will continue to use. So what the heck is it her business? So now suddenly we're doing our bed laundry to be allowed to use the bed topper that is actually now ours. It's just one of those things again where it's like, that's not really their choice to make, but it's being imposed on others anyway because things have to be a certain way. And listen, it's totally fine for people to have quirks. I don't care if someone has some kind of preference that doesn't actually make sense, like organizing things a certain way, having schedules, or whatever. That's fine. And it doesn't have to be logical. It's only bothersome when it's something that doesn't affect them at all and is an inconvenience on those it does when they enforce it. It's just so awkward. I don't know how to navigate when someone is being like a grandparent now. Like, how do I advocate for, no, actually, I shouldn't have to do that and I won't? The argument for irrational rules is always that it's their house, but I don't really think that's fair. Why should they get a say in something that isn't their problem? And it's silly to be treated like they should get a say. Oh, you know what the best, most universal example is? And still relates to beds? Having parents that would strictly enforce their kids make their bed every morning. If the kid isn't inclined to because it doesn't bring them joy to do that in the morning only to mess it up again that night, and the parents don't have to look at it all day or anything, it's not in their way, it's not an inconvenience, why was it such a strict rule back in the day that kids had to make their beds? Who cares? But it was treated like law. Anyway, just silly stuff. And I guess it's worth saying, if you are that kind of parent or enforcer, to maybe take a step back and pick your battles. In my experience and opinion, since I was a kid, has been that setting rules without an actual base of reason wasn't the power play that adults always thought that it was. Sure, it's asserting dominance to insist something gets done, but in cases where it wasn't rational, like making my bed, it just made me lose respect. You may have the power, but if you're being unreasonable, it damages respect of that power. Even kids can see when power isn't wielded well, and it feels even sillier when you're an adult dealing with seniors that have adamant demands. But anyway, pick your battles. Don't make your bed if you don't want to.